In our last two parts in this series on I-70, we traveled through the states of Utah, Colorado, Kansas, and Missouri, highlighting the best stops along that stretch of the road thus far in this road trip. But in this video, we'll be continuing to the great states of Illinois and Indiana. But before we get into it, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out a lot. Crossing the Missouri border over the mighty Mississippi River, we arrive at our first stop in Illinois, just 51 miles east of St. Louis, Greenville, Illinois. Population 7,083. Greenville is home to the Bond County Fairground, where on the first week of August every year, the county fair is held. And it's a special one, with carnival rides, fireworks, antique exhibits, dairy shows. It's overall just a fun time. If your road trip happens to land during that time frame, definitely make sure to check it out. Greenville is also home to the small but surprisingly beautiful liberal arts university, Greenville University. Just steps from campus is Greenville's quaint downtown, home to a few local staples, their county courthouse surrounded by green space, no pun intended, and a stunningly beautiful theater, although it's now permanently closed, which is a shame. But Greenville's biggest attraction is the American Farm Heritage Museum, showcasing and preserving farm and rail history from all over the country here in small-town Greenville, Illinois. Outer Greenville is perfect for a quick stop, with its choices of Budget Inn, Comfort Inn, and Best Western hotels. Our next stop on this stretch of I-70 is the city of Effingham, a town of just over 12,000 residents and home to one of the most beautiful county courthouses I've ever seen. Effingham has a much broader range of restaurants and lodging accommodations than typical towns of its size, offering a Walmart, plenty of chain restaurants right off the interstate, as well as nearly all popular brands of hotels, including Hampton Inn and Fairfield Inn. Effingham is home to two top road trip attractions. First being Lake Pauline, a peaceful lake highly rated for its camping amenities. So if that's more your speed in your cross-country road trips, Effingham makes for a great stop. Also, the My Garage Museum and retail store just off the interstate is home to an eclectic collection of cars and car memorabilia that you can only find here in what seems like the middle of nowhere. Just make sure not to steal any topical city signs on your way out of town. I could see that being a problem here in Effingham. Most of this stretch of I-70 in Illinois is filled with flat green farmland, so there's not a ton to do or see off the main interstate. But our third and final stop in Illinois, before we cross over into Indiana, is one of the coolest looking small towns in the Midwest, in Greenup, Illinois. Population 1,350. The business district of Greenup is on the National Register of Historic Places, and taking a stroll through Cumberland Street, you can see why. Most of the buildings curiously have that French Creole style architecture that you only normally see in New Orleans. So it's a delight to see it here in the middle of Illinois, and so well preserved. Many of the businesses have been appropriately turned into antique malls and shops. If you're willing to venture just 17 minutes up the road, you'll be able to see another curious attraction. The Lincoln Log Cabin State Historic Site, home to a replica of the log cabin built and occupied by Thomas Lincoln, father of U.S. President Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln never lived here and only occasionally visited, but he provided financial help to the household, and after Thomas died in 1851, Abe owned and maintained the farm here for his stepmother. Overall, Greenup and its surrounding areas make for a unique last stop on this stretch of I-70 in Illinois. Crossing the state line into the unincorporated community of State Line, Indiana, our first stop is the city of Terre, Haute. Terre Haute is the first medium-sized city on this stretch of I-70, home to a city population of 58,000 and a metro area population of around 168,000. As of the 2020 census. It's a college town, home to the sixth largest college in the state, Indiana State University. Terre Haute's biggest attraction is their local bar and restaurant scene, with some standout favorites being Federal Coffee and Fine Foods, the Terminal Public House, and J. Gumbo's Cajun. There's actually a ton of dining choices in and around the downtown area, probably due to the student demand, and most are actually pretty highly rated and diverse. One of my favorite attractions in town is the Art Deco style Swope Art Museum. The museum has expanded to include art from the second half of the 20th century and early 21st century, including works by Robert Rauschenberg, Andy Warhol, Alexander Calder, Robert Indiana, and Ava Hess. Fairbanks Park on the south end of the town offers peaceful walking trails along the Wabash River, perfect for winding down your I-70 road trip. And of course, Terre Haute has all the big-name accommodations you'd ever need, as you can see here. Funnily enough, I took a look at Indiana State's NCAA Division I basketball schedule, and on December 30th, the Sycamores are slated to play number 4 ranked Michigan State, which will no doubt provide for some great entertainment if you happen to be taking a road trip around then. Overall, Terre Haute makes for a fun name to say and a great first stop in Indiana on this stretch of I-70. In between there and our next stop, be sure to explore Cagle's Mill Lake and Cataract Falls for some spectacular camping and waterfall views mere feet from the interstate. 80 miles down I-70 to the east of Terre, Haute, we have the capital of the great state of Indiana, Indianapolis. Many out-of-towners may not be in the know about many of the awesome things to do and see in Indianapolis, so let me tell you what I think are the best stops for this road trip. Bottleworks Hotel is my preferred choice of accommodation for a few reasons. This beautiful Art Deco building was built in the 1930s as a soda bottling factory, but today it's been redeveloped into a luxury hotel and a stunning example of adaptive reuse. Truthfully, I feel that the Midwest is just ripe with adaptive reuse potential, but I'll save my thoughts on that for another video, coming soon. I love how you can still see the faded Coca-Cola logo on the exterior of the building. It gives it a lot of charm. Coca-Cola filled its last glass bottle here in the facility in 1964. There's something about places like this that just draw me right in. Bottleworks Hotel is actually located in an adaptive reuse district, the Bottleworks District, a walkable and bike-friendly neighborhood with its own Art Deco food hall, movie theater, bike parking station, shopping, and dining ventures. And it's all located on Massachusetts or Mass Ave, which, if taken south, will take you right into the city center, passing attractions such as the Indianapolis Firefighters Museum, Murat Theater, and plenty of artisan shopping and dining, making for an overall great area to spend your stop time in Indianapolis. Don't forget to visit Monument Circle, home to a neoclassical limestone memorial with an observation deck that houses a Civil War museum and gift shop. This part of downtown is where you'll find some of the more expensive businessy hotels in the city. If it's football or basketball season, you have entertainment options galore, with the Indianapolis Colts and the Indiana Pacers playing at Lucas Oil Stadium and Gainbridge Fieldhouse respectively, both located right in downtown. For the historically inclined, the Benjamin Harrison Presidential Site is here as well, which offers exhibits and tours of the grounds of the 23rd U.S. President's home, plus lectures, a theater, and much more. And last but not least, if your road trip lands around Memorial Day, definitely check out the infamous Indy 500 race if you can, held in the nearby suburb of Speedway, Indiana. Overall, there is a ton to do in this city of nearly 900,000 people. Lots of fun museums, great restaurants, and the state capitol building is one of the cooler looking ones in the nation as well, so check that out if you like too. Indianapolis is no doubt the star of the show on this stretch of I-70. Our next stop is Greenfield, Indiana, 25 miles east of Indianapolis, with a population of around 24,000. Greenfield is a shockingly great stop on I-70, and before researching for this video, I hadn't even heard about it, but I'm glad I know about it now for my next I-70 road trip. Greenfield's downtown is strikingly beautiful, thanks to the buildings within its downtown district, most of which are on the National Register of Historic Places. It was an old rail town that is still growing rapidly in the present day. This growth and adaptation best takes form in its paved walking and biking trail, Pensy Trail Greenfield, stretching the length of town and providing residents and visitors with a safe place to get active away from the cars and into the green nature of Indiana. This is the third green named place on this stretch of I-70, so something tells me there's a lot of great nature to be experienced in the Prairie and Hoosier states. Within Greenfield's downtown district, there are some great dining options. Local favorites include Carnegie's A Place to Eat, Lincoln Square Pancake House Greenfield, and Grigsby's Station, among many others. Overall, Greenfield is a great place to stop to experience a great downtown, great parks and nature walks, and delicious local great food and drink. Our last stop on this stretch of I-70 through Illinois and Indiana is the city of Richmond, population 36,000. Richmond's claim to fame here is their numerous fascinating museums, including the Richmond Art Museum, Wayne County Historical Museum, and my favorite, the Model T Museum. And on this cross-country road trip, that's a must visit. The Model T Museum is committed to collecting, preserving, and exhibiting artifacts from the Model T Ford era through displays and events that educate people of all ages on the history, lore, and skills needed to maintain the car that put the world on wheels. The museum houses 2 buildings, 9 exhibits, over 40 vehicles, hundreds of books and resources, and even includes early tools, machinery, and artifacts from the early 20th century life. Of course, on theme for Indiana, Richmond has a small but charming downtown to check out as well, but it's home to somewhat of a hipster neighborhood on the streets of Fort Wayne Ave and Northeast Street, where you can find some of the best eats in town, including Firehouse Barbecue and Blues, Roscoe's Coffee Bar and Tap Room, and the Cordial Cork. And if you're interested, 20 minutes north of downtown Richmond is Hoosier Hill, the highest point in the great state of Indiana. But that's all for this video. On part 4 of the series, we'll be venturing into the best stops on I-70 in Ohio and West Virginia. That video is already in the works, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future road trip, geography, travel, or any other upcoming videos. Until next time, this has been Town, City, State.